an all-round good guy, tech PM, CRM, ATS guru, automation expert, efficiencies expert, best practice advisor, former recruitment business leader and owner yourself. So commercial as well as being a very proud sandal and sock wearing techie.
The kind of ethos behind Syun Consulting is really around, if it was an elevator pitch, I'd be saying elevating your business through a combination of better quality data, stronger and more robust processes, and obviously automating those as much as possible, and obviously having the tech in place to support those objectives as well. So that's the journey that we're on. And like you mentioned, a lot of what I do now has actually come from my experience of running a recruitment business, where I saw, these elements get kind of forgotten about and not really used and utilized as much as possible. So that's the gap I wanted to fill in the market. And that's what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis to help businesses just improve.
And I mean, from that first meeting at 8 Club, you've done pretty well. You've rinsed the RDLC membership. Are you working with 60 or 80 of our members in some way, shape or form? So one of the things that recruitment business leaders do, they're a little bit like magpies. If somebody is using something, everyone piles in, then they realise they're not actually using it, they're paying for it. It's basically a redundant piece of kit sat in the corner that's costing, and then people then forget to give notice 3 months before the end of the contract, so they have to pay for another year. But you come in to actually make sure, one, when they're making decisions, they're making the right decision on the product based on their market, but also that it's plugged together properly so it can work seamlessly and efficiently. And sometimes people just don't need the latest greatest. What they've got is working well.
One of the key things that I invest a lot of time actually is actually working with my clients and actually evaluating their business to see from a tech perspective how things look. And what that actually involves is just analysing how it looks to me and using my experience of working with plenty of businesses around this kind of stuff. And I see it all the time, Gary, in terms of bits of tech that are sitting here. Some people are using it, others aren't, and you're paying a lot of money for this kind of stuff, and it just doesn't seem to be particularly viable. And what I see a lot of actually is sometimes it's not, business leaders say, "Oh, we bought this tech and it was no good for us," but that's sometimes not down to the tech itself. It's actually down to the approach that people are taking about implementing it properly and then actually using it for specific reasons. I mean, a particular example that I could give you where people use a bit of tech and just don't use enough value of it is doing things like LinkedIn automations, where they're reaching out and building up their network. A lot of that data that you're actually gathering can then be pulled out through APIs and webhooks without much effort, in honesty, through Zapier, and put into a marketing funnel, and then you're doing stuff there. But lots of people just aren't even aware of that you could even do this kind of stuff, let alone how you do it. So yeah, you get lots of tech, lots of money being spent on tech, and it's just either not right for the business or just, like I said, you're using a fraction of it, and that's something that I'm not trying to address as best as I can.
So you work with organisations being on call, project based, or have something which is longer term that you're regularly lifting the hood and just make sure things are still working efficiently.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of the work that I go in and when I scope stuff out is actually one of the first things I want to understand is where is the business going? What is it? Is it growth, new markets? Have you had your fingers burnt with certain bits of tech or certain areas? Let's look at those first, and let's figure out a journey on how to get there. And that's what I work back from, and that tends to be quite logical. It aligns quite closely with what the business wants to do. So you immediately get buy-in because the client is like, well, okay, that's exactly where I want to go, and help me figure out the journey that I need to go on.